What up?
Yo. What's up, bro? What you doing?
Hey, we are living the dream. Living the dream. That's what we're doing, guys. That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I like how my name is Andrew Screen. Let me change my name here real quick. I don't know why that's so funny.
You're an AI right now. That's why.
There we go. I'm Andrew. Yep. Okay, there we go. We're good to go. We're good to go.
Are you Andrew? Are you sure you're Andrew? I don't know.
Yes, I am positive I'm Andrew. That's good stuff. So, awesome. Well, how we doing, Bowl fam? So, we're still recovering from our wounds of,
yes, sir.
The unfortunate situation in the playoffs. We all know this, but here we go. Right, we're moving forward. Like life moves on, and we go from there.
Yep.
So there's lots to talk about. About. So, throw your questions out, guys. So, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the offseason? We'll address everything we can. We have some things here. So I know Kyle and I were talking a little bit. Well, and James. James, is not here. You guys can see that he's not here.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a family thing he's dealing with, and so he's focusing on that at the moment. But so it's just Kyle and I. And again, we will probably be doing this every Sunday at this time.
Yeah, probably about that time. Yeah, maybe a little earlier. Sometimes we'll kind of figure it out though. But yeah, Sundays definitely going to do a weekly brothers chat for sure.
Yeah, weekly recap.
Yeah. By the way, dude, that's a sweet hat, dude. Like you got that from from Bolt Club 602?
No, Arizona Bolt Club. Totally different group.
Totally different group. Oh, that's
yeah. So there's about 4 out here in Arizona. Well, wait, there's about 4 groups total out here. Yeah. 602. By the way, we do have a patch for you for 602.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we need to what we should do, we have 3 of them. So what we need to do is we make some hats, and we'll put the 602 on the hat. So we'll make that happen. James has got it. We already kind of got it figured out. So we'll sort it out for you. It'd be fun.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it.
So as soon as we get that, that'll probably be my hat. So I think probably while I'm in Arizona, I'm probably just going to keep wearing like the local boat clubs. I want to represent them and let everyone know that we care about you guys, and we're just we want to let you know that we support you guys. So it's a lot of fun.
That's right. Yep. That's cool. So there's a couple of people. The Bolt Babes are here. They're saying, "Hey, how you guys doing?" Hey, we're doing all right. We're surviving.
Yeah,
we're surviving. Yeah, we still we should have been at that game yesterday. The Chiefs won. That was a little still a little salty because they were like showing replays of the Jags game a couple times there. I was like, man, get that off the screen.
Yeah,
You know,
get that off the screen. We don't care about
Yeah,
that no more.
get that cone out of my face. That's what I was thinking.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, and what I really wanted to see, guys, to be fair, the Jags, well, okay, we wet the bed flat out.
Yeah.
I think Calvin Lloyd said it perfectly. We choked. We did.
Yep.
But the problem was, I really do believe that we did not. We came out the second half horrible, and I think it's exactly why Lombardi lost his job. We could talk so much about Lombardi, but you know, guys, notice I'm not wearing my bracelets anymore. I've been wearing that all season. That was kind of my lucky charm, so I took them off. So they're now on the mic.
Mhm.
And I'm going to have another lucky charm for next season since we're not going to the Super Bowl. So
that's actually not a bad idea, putting it on the mic there. I got a bunch of little bunch of those that I got to do too.
but again, I will say this, guys. You know, look, I wanted to see us play the Chiefs 3 times this season, and it bothered me that we didn't. I felt like, to be fair, I feel like we had and actually C-Dog, yes. Yeah. You live out in AZ. Yeah. By the way, I was going to just say this. So let me finish my thoughts, and I'll respond to you,
Sure.
C-Dog. But bottom line, I wanted to see the Chargers go after the Chiefs the 3rd time. I felt like we were so close the first 2 times. We should have won at least one of those 2.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it was so frustrating that we did not make that happen. And by the way, C-Dog, we were at the Ainsworth for that playoff game.
Yeah.
Bull Pride 602 was there, and there was probably at least 70 Charger fans there, maybe more.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
First half was amazing.
So cool. Yeah.
The second half was like,
yeah.
Man, they flew in a DJ from Kansas City and everything.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, just Bert and all the guys. It was just so frustrating. But yes, AZ Bowl Club. Yes, there's actually 3 or 4. So C-Dog, I'll hit you up for sure on that. And yes, message us. We will get you in contact with the right folks for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good times.
All right. Well, so you know what? Okay, so we could talk about Herbert, guys. We could talk about things going on. We could talk about off seasons. I think there's a lot to discuss. You know, and I know our thumbnail says Herbert, so maybe we should stick with Herbert for a little bit.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
let's have a general discussion around Herbert, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched that Kurt Warner video. You sent it over this morning, Kyle, and we started talking about. And we kept talking about some of the misplays that Herbert had in that game, and he really did. You know, he didn't have the best game out there.
Right.
And it's true, right? He's a 3rd-year quarterback. But my argument with Joe Lombardi and Willie, this is a great example, is firing Joe Lombardi is a step in the right direction. Well, the reality is this, you're kind of right. Because part of the problem with the offense is that it was so focused on him doing everything right, and everything was on his shoulders. And unfortunately, the defense isn't where it needs to be. Look at the teams that are in the playoffs right now. Niners, Cowboys, probably almost 2 of the best defenses in the league right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Bills are good. And I tell you right now, the Bengals shut them down. Right.
Yeah.
So guys, right now, the league, it starts with defense. And unfortunately, our defense did not make it happen. We did not, guys, we didn't stop them once the second half.
No, not at all.
And that was all on Herbert's shoulders. He had to go out and win that game the second half. And unfortunately, there's only so much you can do. So what are your thoughts on that, Kyle?
Well, I mean, realistically, they just didn't play the whole 60 minutes. They played 30 minutes. And you know, NFL is a 60-minute ball game. So you can't win the game playing 30 minutes. Like, and that was my problem with it. Like they were pretty dang good that first half. They had all the parts, like, you know, all levels. They were lights out. You know, defense got 5 turnovers. Offense, we scored like you know, we actually scored first quarter. We scored the second quarter. And then we just kind of like, I guess 27 points is all we need.
We'll take the second half off completely.
Yeah. It's like, all right,
we're on field goal. We missed 2 field goals all season. One in the playoffs. That was horrible. We would have won.
Terrible.
And then Joey Bosa threw his helmet down, and we get that you know, that penalty.
Unsportsmanlike, yeah. And then it was tough. It was tough to see that because clearly the adjustments were all made on the Jaguars side, and we did not make those adjustments. We were probably in the halftime. They were probably popping bottles of champagne in the locker room, and they just freaking got a little sauced. Having pregame celebrations, I guess. Or
well, and I was talking about that and how like what probably happened also was they were doing that, but then secondarily maybe a high school team decided to jump in their uniforms and go out and play the second half because holy smokes, like how bad did we play the second half? It was just horrible. We just did not. We weren't even the same team. So look, I'll say this: the offseason, there's a lot for us to discuss, guys.
Right.
And look. The argument that I had this whole entire season was a lot was placed on Justin Herbert's shoulder for a third-year quarterback. A lot was placed on his shoulders. Yeah. And that's tough, man. I mean, it's tough because you sit back and say, well, okay, well, like, where does this really go? Right? Where are we really going to go as a team? How are we really going to improve as a team? And so let me show you one of the things that I saw that I thought was pretty interesting. So let me share the screen here real quick. Can we get this text off here, Kyle? This off to the side here. That's on
you don't want the chat there. All right.
Let's just dump it. Yeah, because it's just in the way of us.
All right.
Not that we have to be in the middle.
You want to show your pretty face? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying it's just a little distracting.
All right.
Anyways, so the thing that I keep thinking about as far as free agents here, right? These priority free agents are awesome, right? And in the sense that they make sense, but these other folks that are here don't really make a lot of sense to bring back, right? And again, Drew Tranquil, Bryce Callahan, KVN, Morgan Fox, Trey Pipkins, Fehoko, Scott Dicker, Parham. Yeah, I agree. All those have to come back. We already did sign. I do believe we already signed Dicker. I think that's it. The only one on that list so far. What do you guys think of this list, by the way? What do you guys think of this list?
I think it's a pretty solid list for sure, dude. Yeah. Like, I mean, Norton's definitely got to go. That's for sure. Like, I mean, he just hasn't been able to translate from the XFL to the NFL now. So just like,
he's slow. He's slow.
Yeah. So,
and Covington unfortunately got hurt, but he's okay, but not great.
Right.
I think Adderley's gone. We got JT Woods. A lot of people don't like Adderley. But from a dollar perspective, this is big, right? Because you got to remember, we do need to sign Justin Herbert at some point, and what does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
And and let me get my screen off here. Look at all this stuff here too. There's my trading platform. No big deal.
Okay.
So anyways, but bottom line, guys,
writing down your bank account numbers here.
Yeah, write my bank account number. No big deal. No, but guys, like, look, at the end of the day, what do you guys think of this list, right? I mean, I know a lot of people keep talking about DeAndre Hopkins, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what are they going to want, right? Are they going to want a first round pick? Are they going to want a second round pick? What are you thinking, right? I mean, are they going to want that? And I don't know that he's that great. I mean, he's good. He's good. He's really good. But, would you have him over a Williams or an Allen? What if we traded Williams, or what if we traded Allen and got like a second round pick with DeAndre Hopkins? Would you guys make that trade? Right. Yeah. These are the questions that Telesco is going to have to answer for this offseason for sure. Right. Because it's going to boil down to a lot of that, and how is that going to play out specifically, for this team?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. There's a lot to be said about this, right? I mean, there's some big decisions that need to be made. Now, here's the thing. So the very end of this is probably the most important part. Restructuring Mac is crucial. $20 million cap hit. Guys, $20 million. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
For a team that's already over the cap, Kyle has that information in front of us. We can go into this right after this.
Yeah.
And then we got Joey Bosa, who, as I already said, arguably potentially lost us this game. If he was standing right next to me, I wouldn't say that to him. Okay. I wouldn't say that to him. I would say, hey, Joey, you did a great job, buddy. No, I wouldn't say that either. But bottom line, guys, like, he kind of screwed it up. What do you guys think? Tell me what you guys think, right? I mean, bottom line, it was a mess, and the way he handled things, all of that was just horrible. And you could sit back all day and continue arguing that he's a great corner, but he was injured all season for the most part. He played 4 games total, and we paid him that much money. Yeah. What if somebody, all right, guys, how about this? What if somebody said, hey, we want Joey Bosa, we'll give you a first round pick and we'll take his salary cap?
Yeah, that'd be huge.
Would you be okay with that?
I would definitely be okay with it. I mean,
so these are the questions, guys. Chat. What do you guys think?
Look, I mean, because here's the thing too, is like, yeah, you're right. Like he only played 4 games for us this year, but then in his 7 years that he's played for us, um, as a Charger, he's only played 3 full years.
Yep.
4 of his years, he barely did anything, because he's always getting hurt and somehow, like, and it's just crazy. I mean, it's really sad though, because like, I mean, I think he's a stellar athlete and he's an amazing like player, and like, and I love like hearing him like talk about the refs, about talking crap about it.
Yep.
He actually got like a $53,000 fine for that, like because of his comments about the refs being like, like, oh.
Thank you, Alex. New
subscriber. Yeah, new follower for Twitch there, baby. Let's go.
Awesome. Let's get it, guys. Yeah, and guys, but you're right? It's frustrating. I mean, it's so funny, right? And again, boy, sorry about this, guys. So Bosa did lose this game. 3 penalties for 40-something yards. And that one penalty that he had offsides, 15-yard penalty. Remember, he was sacked. Yeah. Lawrence was sacked. We gave up a touchdown that drive.
Right.
Then he got more pissed off because he was getting held.
Right.
And then we gave a walk-in 2-point conversion. And we lost by 1 point, guys.
Yeah.
1 point.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, like these things matter. And arguably you could sit back and say, well, it wasn't his fault. And no, it was. He lost his cool, right? Mm-hmm. And he did. And so
a very pivotal point of the game,
100%.
Because you can lose your cool like in the beginning, and you can still like make up for it and stuff like that, But like, I mean, we were already down and out, and all of the momentum was on the Jag side, and then he just totally lost his cool.
Yep, he totally did.
Yeah,
he totally did. No, and I really do think though there's a lot to be said about that. I mean, again, it's so okay. Guys in the chat. Let us know if you want us to do a video, because I've been thinking about doing my end of year thoughts, and maybe us Bolt Bros individually do our end of year thoughts. Because let's be very clear, all 3 of us think very differently about all of this, right? So I know Kyle thinks differently about it. Coaching staff, I think differently about it.
Of course, the Bolt babes think differently about it too. They want to keep Bosa because he's easy on the eyes.
Oh goodness, does that matter? Bolt babes probably say, "Oh, those are really nice outfits." You're like, okay, anyways, come on, they're called uniforms. Let's. Yes, it's an interesting situation.
Yeah, of course.
And again, there's a lot to be said about that. I truly believe. I think trading Bosa would be a good thing. Again, guys, we have to pay our crown jewel, and that's Justin Herbert. Okay, that is Justin Herbert. Now, the argument really is also this, right? We need to definitely get the right coaching staff in there to make Justin Herbert better.
Right.
And that's really the next argument, right? And
right. And who is the best offensive coordinator for us? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know Zach mentioned about it. He was just saying that he don't want to get Greg Roman or Frank Reich or Leftwich either. Like obviously, I think Leftwich would definitely be a terrible choice. So
yeah, Leftwich is young. I don't know that he's the right guy. I actually kind of like Frank Reich a little bit. Mm-hmm. And Aether, throw your questions out for sure.
Yeah, of course, Aether.
Yep. And by the way, we don't have to pay Herbert this year. By the way, Denise, we just do not. We do not have to pay Herbert.
No.
We could let him sit. He's still he's got 2 years left on his contract currently. Is that what it is?
I think so. I think after next year we can option him. And then after that, we have to franchise tag him, I think.
Correct. So, that's right.
But I mean, the question is like, will he accept that option, or will he just want to get paid right away? Like
get paid more money. Yeah.
I mean, because the truth is, it's up to his agent mostly. He just wants to play ball. It doesn't matter, and stuff like that. So, and I know he wants to play for the Chargers. That's the biggest thing.
Well, and I really do believe that, and I think that he's. Okay, so one of the things that I remember him saying specifically at the end of the season, he said, "You know what? We have full faith in the front office, and Brandon Staley."
Yeah.
Notice he didn't talk about Joe Lombardi. He didn't talk about anybody else. Now you could read into that one way or the other, but at the end of the day, Joe Lombardi and Shane Day are not there. Now I will also say this too: there was apparently a meeting with the ownership, the front office, without the coaching staff, with all the players. And I would not be surprised if there was some open discussions on coaches that need to go or, whatever. I promise you at some point there was some discussions and, and again, it's one of those situations where you have to sit back and ask yourself this question, what was said, but clearly we did nothing on the second half. I think it was 9 games straight where we didn't score a touchdown on the third quarter. That's coaching. 110% that's coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is not putting your players in the right position. I mean, look at the Niners specifically, right? They have Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant that's out there as a rookie balling out.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but here's the thing. And so James, or Kyle, I was sitting here,
there it is.
I was sitting with Mom and we were chatting and I made a comment about how you remember Fred Warner said at the end of the Chargers Niners game.
Yeah.
You remember what he said about the defense?
Our defense? No, I don't remember.
Our offense. Yeah, their defense.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like much of after that game was kind of a blur for me. Like it was kind of like it was very much like the Homelander meme, just sitting there watching it and just ringing in my ears. Like I was like,
yeah. So basically, what he said was we ran the same defensive play the entire second half and we stopped him.
Oh my gosh!
You know what our mom said? Our Bolt mom said. She goes, "Wow, that's stupid. Why didn't the coaching staff make any adjustments or make any changes?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
yeah,
this is my mom who doesn't even understand football.
Yeah,
I don't even think she really knows who the quarterback is." and I'm sitting here going, "Wow, she just said the most profound thing in the entire world."
Yeah,
and I sat there for a second, guys, and I'm like, "Oh my god, she's exactly right."
Yeah,
like any child would realize that our offense is run incorrectly. Now, again, they're running very vanilla plays. If you watch Kurt Warner's video that Kyle sent us earlier, and you should put it in the description below or at some point.
Yeah, let me see. I'll drop it in the chat here in a second.
Yeah, drop it in the chat or maybe put it at the bottom at some point. But it's a great video because it breaks down a lot of what happened in the Jacksonville game. And by the way, Herbert did not have a great game. If you look at the tape, he did not have a great game. He kept checking down. He was not throwing the ball deep. So Herbert's a bit at fault. Okay.
Right.
You could argue Herbert's a bit at fault. Having said that, there's a lot to be said about where this offense can go with the right coaching staff. So, there's a lot to be said about that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, so Kyle, why don't you show the dollars that are being spent right now, and then we can go through there.
Okay.
So pull that up real quick.
Hide yours. Show you mine.
There you go. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, we don't want to be at the bottom on this list. It just means that we're over cap. So look, make no mistake about it, guys. Again, arguments have been made, and I've said this many times that the Chargers have not spent money. This is showing you right now the Chargers have spent money. We are what, 5th in the league in spending money at this moment?
Yeah, we are bottom 5.
Yep. So we are $20 million over cap right now.
20 million. Yeah, like we're 19.4 million over cap.
Over cap. And guys, there's a lot to be said about that. There's a lot to be said about that, right? And I think when we start talking about this Joey Bosa, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, these things might happen in the offseason, guys. So I'm saying this to brace us as a fan base to understand that these are business decisions that have to be made at some point. And I promise you, Brandon Staley sat him down and said, look, we need these guys. And we do.
Yeah.
But JC Jackson's been a bust, I mean, not his fault.
Well, maybe it was his fault because he got actually busted for some domestic violence stuff.
Well, that's true. That's true. I don't know. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with that?
Yeah. I think he'll be all right though. Like, I mean,
I think so. So.
The bigger question is because that patellar injury that he suffered that could be career ending. That's the bigger problem because apparently a lot of pundits were saying is that that's a very bad injury for running type sports like this, So, and like that's something that he might not be able to recover from because that's a huge injury. So
yeah, and I agree with you. Mike McDaniel will be better, Frank Reich. And by the way, just so you know, Joe Lombardi was the 4th choice of Brandon Staley's for his offensive coordinator.
Oh my gosh.
He was the fourth choice.
Yeah.
And again, that's what's hard, guys. Like, you got to understand, offensive coordinators are very sought after in this league. And let's go into Aether's question here real quick.
Okay.
And again, I want you to think through. Let's do an exercise, guys. Think through. We're already showing you that we're over the cap. Okay, we are over the cap. That immediately means that we have to make some tough decisions financially, right? We want to pay Herbert. If we want to keep Herbert, guess what? We can't keep everybody.
Right.
Who would you want to let go or trade away to give us a little bit of cap space so we can be over, back into cap space? Because Herbert's going to want a lot of money, guys. So, I mean, these are tough decisions. This is what Telesco's paid to do. Right. So put your thoughts down below. All right. So, Kyle, you want to take this question from Aether?
Yeah. So Aether says, this is what Coach Staley needs to do. Don't mess up this because get the Bengals QB coach as a new offensive coordinator. Let him put his own staff and get out of the way of our offense. We'll be there too. Yeah, I mean, I really like it. I mean, obviously, like, look at what Joe Burrow has been doing over there in Cincinnati. He's been amazing, and so that'd be huge. Like, because Joe Burrow's lighting it up, and he's basically talking trash all day long too about the Bills game, because he was like saying, "Oh yeah, a lot of Bills fans actually already bought tickets to the AFC Championship game," and they're like, he just straight up said, "You better get that refund then."
Yep, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so that was a freaking, that's a big dig. But I mean, but he's been lighting it up. He's really shown that he is the number one draft pick for a reason of the 2020 draft quarterbacks. And so I'm really liking what he's doing over there. And yeah, and if it's connected to his quarterback coach, we got to get him. We definitely got to get him, because that would be huge. Give him an upgrade, give him to offensive coordinator, and holy smokes, then we might have something big cooking over here for the Chargers. I don't know. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I think bottom line, it's a tough thing to discuss, right? Because, look, at the end of the day, I think they need to build an offense around Justin Herbert. What does Justin Herbert want to do? What does he feel comfortable doing? And how can he be more comfortable, in general, right? Because bottom line, I don't really feel like he is. Now, again, the offense that Joe Lombardi ran really relied on Justin Herbert to make every play. And that sucks, right? Look at Brock Purdy, look at Dak Prescott. Those teams do not rely on Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy to be super successful. Think of Ben Roethlisberger with the Steelers. Run first, pass second, great defense. That's all they did. Run first, pass second, great defense. And guys, they won that way. Most of the teams that win in the NFL win that way. So my prediction is the offseason, we're going to be buying a lot of defensive players. I truly don't think we're going to keep going out and buying a bunch of wide receivers and whatever. We might draft them. We might draft them for sure. But I don't think we're going to get a lot of stuff in free agency. I just really don't think we will. I just don't. I don't think we're going to go that direction. And so it's going to be really interesting, how that plays out. So that's my take. Okay. All right. Let's see. No, so by the way, Jason Kwan, great point. Herbert would not do that, right? Herbert wants to stay with the Chargers, period. Hell, I would even be surprised if he doesn't take a bit of a discount, right? Because the truth of the matter is he does want to play in in Los Angeles. Like he that's his team. I don't think he wants to go anywhere else. Go ahead. What are you going to say, Kyle?
Oh, no, I was just jumping into the actual specific part of that. Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, like, a lot of players do play for their childhood teams or whatever, but it's not necessarily the players that are actually making these contracts. I mean, they're not in the deal with that room, it's the agents, the sad part is, like, all these agents are getting super greedy, and the standard is the standard is minimum like $30 million a year for a lot of these players now. I mean, realistically, like, I've always felt like, players should kind of follow the freaking Tom Brady method. He never got paid more than like $25 million a year, and he's got 7 rings, been to the Super Bowl 8 times or something like that, like 10 times. So it's like, quarterbacks really think they're better than Tom Brady? Come on.
Yep.
You know, like, I mean, geez, like it's silly to me. Like, I mean, still, like, I mean, that hometown discount can only go so far. If
It
you ask
can.
me, it's so like, I mean, look this one right here. Like, it says calculated market value for Justin Herbert is $42.4 million a year.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And right now they're getting into guaranteed money. And guys,
Yeah.
guaranteed money is ridiculous. Like, great example. Let me give you a great example. You got Derek Carr, guaranteed money, right? A lot of it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray is guaranteed money, and they both suck. So you sign this guy to a guaranteed money contract for $250 million. Who wants to pick up that contract? Nobody wants to pick up that contract, right? So you cannot trade him off. You're stuck. Is this our guy? And I'm telling you, it's becoming ridiculous. I mean, Lamar Jackson wants a ton of money from the Ravens. The guy's always hurt, right?
Yeah.
Look at Jalen Hurts.
And they for Lamar Jackson, actually, they just signed $100 million deal for Roquan Smith before that. So
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, so like, I don't know if they're gonna be able to afford Lamar Jackson if like that's what they're paying him now too.
Yep, 100%. And I'm telling you, it's a complete joke, right? The way the way that's completely set up, and I just feel like it's just awful, right? And again, what is going to happen with Justin Herbert? Is he going to get paid that much money? He definitely deserves $250 million, but dude, guaranteed, for how many years, right? I mean, it's going to be an interesting situation. So,
yeah. But I found this is the interesting thing though too. All the free agents that we have, actually, like, they are really actually not that much of a salary cap hit, actually. And Donald Parman is actually one of the free agents this year. He's a restricted free agent.
Yep.
But his impact is only 700,000. So, and adding, I'd like to figure out how to add all this stuff up like really fast or whatever, but like, it's really our free agents this year are actually not a whole lot. And so we can't just say, okay, let's just let all of them walk and then we're under cap again. No, we're not.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. That's why like, this trade deal or restructuring.
Hefe over here trolling us. That's fine.
Oh,
hey,
it's the Chiefs. What's up?
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Mr. Chiefs himself.
Yes, there we go. Yeah. Jesus does not need to take discounts. Well said, Aether. Exactly.
Well said.
No, but that's funny. But this is a good point, guys, right? So like, look, okay, so let's go through this list real quick, guys. So what do you guys think about this list? KVN, absolutely. Chase Daniel, he could walk. Now, somebody made an interesting comment about Chase Daniel being our offensive coordinator next season, which would actually really annoy me because, again, yes, he's a quarterback, but at the end of the day, he's not somebody that needs to look. We need someone to bring a fresh set of eyes on Justin Herbert. We do not need the same guy that's there, right? We just don't.
Yeah.
And, my point is, no, we don't. Now, all right, so let's look at everybody here on this list. So let's go to the top. Kyle Van Noy. Re-sign him. Chase Daniel, we could let him walk.
Yeah. Bryce
Callahan, got to sign him.
I think that would be solid to sign him still. Christian Covington. Yeah, I mean, he was injured quite a bit though too,
Morgan Fox, we need him.
Yeah.
Pay him double the money, keep him. Nas, we probably can let him go.
Yeah.
DeAndre Carter, I would like to keep him personally. Will Clapp, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with him though too is like, I mean, because not Matt Filer, Lindsley is getting older, and he did suffer quite a bit, But like, I don't know if Clapp is the answer for him though.
No.
Yeah. Richard Rodgers, he can walk.
Yeah, he can walk. Tyler Dellison, he was there, but not. It's a lot of money for that guy. I would probably let him walk. I don't really care that much about him.
Yeah,
Troy Reader, he was good. He played good when he was in. I just think he need more snaps. J.K. Scott, absolutely re-sign that guy, dude.
Yeah, definitely keep him around, please.
And we need Guyton. We need Guyton, guys.
We definitely need Guyton. He's our deep threat, and it was really sad that he actually was out for most of the year. So I wonder what his contract is going to look like now. It's probably going to be, a lot higher than that though, for sure.
Yep.
96,100,000 or
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
965,000. Yeah, a lot
I
more
mean,
than that. That's for sure.
if we double it, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
Trey Pipkins is good. He did good. Drew
yeah,
Tranquil, definitely good.
yeah. Uh,
Fehoko, guys, we want Fehoko.
yep. Definitely want
Um,
Fahoko. Yeah, Michael Bandy.
Storm, we can let Storm go. Cameron Dicker, we already signed him.
Yep.
Easton
Easton
Stick.
Stick. Well, that's it.
eh,
So that's an yeah. I mean, he hasn't really played anything for us. So yeah, he's got to go. Like, and honestly, I think he can actually be a valuable part of another team. I mean, maybe he can go to the Texans and get some snaps there and stuff like that. Like, or even the Colts. Like he might, because I mean, we've seen some flashes of greatness out of him when it comes to some of the preseason games, but during the regular season, not so much. But because he's not the starter.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, look at what happened to our boys at in the Seattle, the Seahawks, right? I mean,
Hmm.
look at what's that guy's name? Why am I drawing a blank on his name all of a sudden?
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Arguably the worst quarterback in the league. He's like from bottom to top at this point, right? And it's like,
Right.
holy smokes, like he did a great job. And this is what Aether says. He just, Herbert deserves big contract, 8 years, $470 million. Good God. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what
Ugh.
happens there, buddy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a ridiculous amount of money. I mean,
Here's the
okay,
thing. The thing to go back onto that, with the Kurt Warner video, it was showing. It was like, if you ever watched that one, Kurt Warner actually broke down the analysis of the Jags game, and he showed
yep,
that it wasn't just play calling that it was the problem. Is that we kind of give you a brief about it. Is that Kurt Warner clearly showed that there's a lot of play calls were actually fine, and we actually had some deep routes open in midfield and further, but Herbert chose the check down. And
the
so
check down a lot.
yeah, and so that just proves that it's not all Joe Lombardi on that, and that Herbert actually still needs to learn to make those better decisions too.
Push the
So
ball downfield. Yeah. Well, and
yeah,
I think part of it also was his ribs.
yeah, absolutely.
Who's here has had a rib injury? I have.
I've not.
And it sucks. It sucks. You laugh, it hurts. You walk, it hurts. Everything you do hurts. It hurts.
Right.
I promise you, he was in pain. And so again, it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out with them. And guys, Herbert led the league in batted balls all season.
Right.
Led the league, and he's what, 6'7"?
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't have happened.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well,
right.
Why? Right? Well, he kept doing the sidearm thing. He kept getting too cute. And again, that could be the argument of why Shane Day is not here anymore, because he didn't correct that part of the problem with Justin Herbert. And again,
yeah,
that's his job. That's his job.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's really an interesting thing to think about, right? I mean, and again, like there's a lot to be said. So let me show one thing real quick, Kyle. Here, let me show you what the Buccaneers are dealing with.
All right.
On their look at here, Buccaneers, $55.5 million over cap, and expected to let multiple free agents leave the team. Julio Jones, Scotty Miller, Keanu Neal, Logan Ryan, right?
Right.
Look, clearly they went for all the kit and caboodle this season, right? And it failed, didn't work out. There you go, guys. And so those are the things you got to think about, right? I mean, again, at the end of the day, it is a dollar decision at some point. It is. You have to make a decision. And Zach, broke my ribs mountain biking. It's hard. It really is.
Yeah.
I won't tell you how I broke my ribs, Zach, because it's actually more funny than that. But it's pretty hilarious. Do you remember how I broke my ribs, Kyle?
No. Please share, though. Please share with the class.
Okay, guys, this is actually kind of funny. This might be a good short. So, at home, Dad was, how Dad always threw cold water on us as kids?
Oh, yeah, sure. Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, in the shower. Yeah.
Yeah. So I heard somebody fiddling with the handle, and I'm in the shower in my birthday suit, as we know. That's how you shower. Anyways, I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go. Well, I sneak out, lock the door, as I'm running back, I hear somebody fiddling with the handle as I'm walking back in. I completely slip in my birthday suit. And I believe it was either you or Kelly, one of your little stools so you could get up and brush your teeth as a kid.
Okay.
I landed right on the wooden stool on the side.
Oh.
Boom. Literally just plunged. Bare ass naked, by the way, completely bare ass naked to the world.
Yeah.
Hit the side, and then I just like slinked into the shower. I'm like, oh. Broken ribs. 2 broken ribs. It was horrible. That's how I broke my ribs.
Oh geez, it was probably me just messing with you, like jiggling the handle,
It could have been. Well, you broke my ribs, jerk. What's going on here? Nobody threw any water in there.
Honestly, I don't remember that at all, though, to be honest. So yeah.
Well, anyways, but that was a horrible situation. But again, it's one of those situations to think about, right? So again, broken ribs suck. And I remember I couldn't laugh. Nothing was, it was just horrible. It was just one of the worst situations. The Bull Babes, apparently, wrestling with my boyfriend. Yeah, she felt bad. Okay. Got it. Nice.
All right.
So,
all right.
So at the end of the day, guys, again, it's tough, right? And so again, what we just wanted to emphasize at this point is that there's going to be some tough decisions that this team has to make moving forward, right? It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be simple. It's not going to be something we could deal with at all. It just isn't, right? So I think there's going to be some changes that as fans, we're probably going to be really annoyed with. I mean, what if we traded Allen away for a first and second round pick?
Sheesh. I mean,
what if we trade Williams away? What if we traded Allen and Williams away for a first and second round each? I mean, and we just go young.
I feel like this at the same time, this might make a lot of people mad at me though. But I mean, I don't think Williams or Bosa are first round pick draft material or material. Like they maybe second and third, like Khalil Mack was. Sure. But I mean, I can't see anyone giving a first round draft pick for either one of them. Because they're both older, and injury prone. Yeah, and it's not anything against their ability because they're both amazing players. Don't get me wrong,
100%.
But like they both are getting older and like they are getting injured a lot more, and it's like they lose a lot of game time because of that. So yeah, it's just sad to say that. So.
Well, and again, guys, as fans, we can sit back all day and speculate, but I guarantee to you this season, we're going to see some changes that are not going to be happy, right? We're going to be frustrated with some of the things that are going to happen. And that's the nature of football, right? And clearly Tampa Bay, I mean, we showed you Tampa Bay only because they got to make some tough decisions. Like they really do, right?
They're on the bottom of the list right there. And then right next to them is the Saints at 52 million under over cap. So
100%, right? Okay,
yeah.
so let's look at this. Let's look at the potential head coaching choices or offensive coordinator choices for the Chargers at this point, right? And this is what Daniel Popper says. Mike LaFleur, former Jets OC.
Okay,
nothing exciting there. Nathaniel Hackett, former Broncos head coach, definitely nothing exciting there. Daniel Pitcher, Bengals off QB coach. Nothing exciting there, in my opinion. He's a QB coach, whatever. I mean, it makes sense because he's done a good job with Joe Burrow, but okay. Zach Robinson, who has actually interviewed with the Chargers already.
Yeah.
So you know. Okay. Thomas Brown, Rams assistant head coach and Titans coach. And then Frank Wright. I'm seeing nothing on that list that makes me excited in any way, shape, or form, right? What do you guys think? I mean, I'm sitting there going like, what? That's all we can – arguably one of the best offensive coordinator positions out there, and this is our choices?
Yeah.
Terrible. I mean, I was like so annoyed when I read that. I'm like, yeah, it's horrible. Like, come on. No.
Right.
Stupid.
Right. Yeah.
So, anyways, so we got a question here for Bolt Babes. The one thing that we have to remember is when all your first starters, when they got injured, people stepped up in the game, got us to the playoffs. Why are we looking at that team?
I'm not sure how to take that one yet, but I guess, yeah, you're right though. Like the backups did actually launch us, keep us in the playoff running, plenty of times, whatever. Hey, look who decided to join us here.
Oh, Andrew's here. What's up? Here, I'll change his name.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there
I'm
we go.
quick on the draw. Hey, there you go.
Oh, James is here. What's up, dude?
What's up?
Hey, we were talking bad about you the entire time.
That's
bro.
right.
Good.
So this whole
Good.
time,
I think I deserved it.
Yeah. You were blessed. That's right.
the lazy lima bean over here.
Lazy lima bean here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I heard you guys chatting a little bit about offensive coordinators and everything too,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I was just kind of listening to your guys's
Yeah.
People that are kind of going through. Actually, the one guy.
These guys are here. Yeah.
Here, let me pull it up here. Actually, there's one that popped up recently, and it was for the Vikings.
Yeah. Brian Johnson's the other guy too. Yep.
Yeah. He just interviewed for it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and so was it Brian Johnson? I don't know why that sounds strange.
Zach Robinson interviewed already. Yeah, he already interviewed.
Got it. Okay. But there was and so it was interesting. He was if I'm thinking of the right guy here, sorry, I'm just trying to go back through it real quick.
That's a good point.
But he basically just did interview, or at least I was looking at his background and how he went to Texas A&M and he was a quarterback there. And I was kind of watching some of his highlights too. And he kind of reminds me a lot of, honestly, of Justin Herbert. So I really think that he could actually be a really, really good fit. I don't know why I'm zoning out on who this guy was, but I think he was like a quarterback coach for the Vikings, which is crazy to see that that other guy that basically ended up declining the interview makes me think a lot of you. And I don't know if you guys have chatted about this, by the way, but the reason why I think that the guy
he's taking his coat off now. Look at this guy. He's getting ready.
I'm getting hot in here, dude. Man. But yeah, I do think why he ended up declining the interview with us is because there is going to be a little bit of instability in the head coaching position. Because you and I, we've all chatted about that. Like,
right?
Hey, look, like we feel like this could be, if this is a bad season, this could be the last year with Telesco and Staley.
Yeah,
and that's why some of these coaches don't want to show up over here because they feel like, well, I don't want to like move my whole family over to the other side of the country for possibly only 1 year and then have to find another job again.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. That's a good point because that's exactly what a lot of people are thinking. And, in a weird way, it makes me almost wonder, well, why do we even let go of,
Yeah.
I mean, Joe
Lombardi, yeah.
But it was clearly not again, one of the things that we talked about quite a bit, James, prior to you joining, was that, look, the part of the problem with the Chargers this season was that everything was put on Justin Herbert's shoulders. He had to have a perfect game every damn week.
Yeah.
Look at the teams in the playoffs right now. They are not focusing on their quarterback the entire time, right? The Niners.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Look at the Niners and look at the Cowboys. Yeah. Arguably some of the crappiest quarterbacks out there. I mean, they're okay, but they're not great. But their defense is really good. It keeps them in every game. And they have a good running game.
Yep.
Well, we're the opposite. Our defense is not good, and we have no running game. So what's the argument? Well, you got to get somebody to come in here and figure things out. But again, Zach Robinson seems like the guy that seems, and again, he lives in LA, could be an easy switch. But I would sit down, and again, you and I talked about this, James, and I've been talking a lot, so I apologize. And I'll shut up. I'll be listening here pretty shortly. But I still think whoever gets hired on needs to sit down with Herbert and say, let's create an offense that you want.
Yeah.
What makes sense for you? I don't care what I know. I want to create something that works best for you and what works best for the team that we have currently.
Yep.
What do you think that is? And then go from there. And again, he's going to be involved in the decision making. So what are your thoughts on this, James?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. We need to be able to cater an offense directly to what Justin Herbert's strengths are. And I think that's the thing. Like, if you even say, like, for the Bills, like, their offense is catered around Josh Allen right now.
Yeah.
And, he is basically, like, trying to find a way to be able to unlock his full potential, keep him moving in the pocket, keep him moving, using his legs to be able to extend plays, finding the way to get the ball downfield. Yeah, that's a pretty good one, Zach. But yeah, and I agree. That's what we really have to have. And the thing about it is with the coordinator Zach Robinson, Brandon Staley hasn't been in the league that long. His relationships aren't very deep. He hasn't had a lot of people that he's actually been with as a coach to be able to really dig into his crates of potential candidates here. So it's kind of like you're going to bring in some guys that he might not really truly know. Like Zach Robinson fits because he came from the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was in the same year, 2020, when Brandon Staley was there. So there's that camaraderie there and knowing each other and everything too. To me, and going back to the Vikings coach that is interviewing for the offensive coordinator position, is
Jared Johnson. Yeah.
Yep.
Jared
Johnson. Yeah. If you watch some of his highlights of him at Texas, he reminds me a lot of Justin Herbert on how he could move around, good long downfield. It just bottom line kind of reminded me of how it would fit really well to his style. He's a young guy, though. Once again, that's my biggest concern when Brandon Staley came to this team was a young coaching staff, coaching staff surrounding him on top of that, are you going to be successful without being very experienced? Possibly, but it's rare, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't know. When I watched once again, and why we keep digging into the Vikings system is kind of wild to me, but it's once again, there's connections to the Rams, connections to basically Brandon Staley in some manner.
Right.
So I don't know. That's just something that I think Jared Johnson looks good. I think Zach looks good. But it sucks because I feel like we don't have a lot of good options to your point, Andy. I feel like there's very, very slim amount of options for us.
I'm really frustrated with the option choices. And Aether,
Right.
yeah. So this is great. Andrew needs to get the doctor something wrong with his brain. Chargers are not trading Allen, Bosa, Williams. They're trying to they're not rebuilding. Look, here's the thing though. It's a dollar amount conversation the way.
Right.
This isn't a conversation around what we want. The NFL is still a business, right? It's still a business. There's still money to be made, and we are over cap, right? And so it's something to think about, right? It's not just a conversation around what we want, right? I mean, if we had unlimited amounts of money, we'd be the Yankees or the Dodgers, but we're not, right? So,
well, this is NFL, not baseball. Baseball has no cap, so
that's exactly correct.
Exactly.
And look what the Padres are doing, dude. The Padres are just blowing money left and right. Thank God. Great. We're gonna win a World Series, babe. Let's go. Whoop.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. 2023. Let's go.
I'm gonna be a Padre fan from now on, anyways. Anyways, but this is good. This is good, Jason. And again, I kind of like Frank Reich a little bit. Bring an old reliable in. If he doesn't get a head coaching job, look what he did with Andrew Luck. Look, I think there's something to be said about Frank Reich, and you kind of need a guy to settle him down. And Herbert. The thing about Herbert to me is that Herbert has all the talent in the entire world, 100%.
Yeah,
he can. The sky is the absolute limit with Justin Herbert, but the problem is that he needs to settle himself down a little bit.
Sure.
That second half of that game against the Jags, he looked pretty bad, right? And he really did not look great. But again, I argue over and over again that unfortunately this team has been built around, unfortunately, making Justin Herbert having to make every play, and the defense is just sort of there for, I don't know, bodies on the other side of the line that are just not getting the job done and stopping the other team. And, that's a Brandon Staley problem too. So that's frustrating. So, anyways.
Well, you want to take a look at his pass chart? I got that pulled up right now.
Pull that up for sure.
Okay. Here you go.
Look at it.
Whoop. There you go.
Yeah, and I hate looking at that pass chart.
So terrible looking at this one.
Horrible, guys. And again, it's tough because when you start looking at this, you start just going, dude, there's just so many. Now, one of the things that Kurt Warner's video, and we posted the video. You guys should all check it out. We'll put it again in the chat, but it's a good little breakdown that I think with his rib injury, I think he just did not want to get hit again. And I think he got in his mind, get the ball out quick.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't let pass plays develop. And so I think he did the check down when it was there, and that was it. And that was our season.
Just old reliable, just dump it off to Eckler as fast as you could. I'm sure that was part of the conversation with a coordinator and QB coach. You know, he's just like, hey, look, I mean, yeah, my ribs hurt, and if I don't see nothing, I'm just gonna dump it to Eckler. You know?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering who this Chargers with this angry emoji right here, Lombardi. Is that the actual Chargers site right there? Boy,
Yeah.
that's a glaring that's a front office issue. Who is that?
Oh, that's this Chargers meme right there. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Chargers meme. Okay, got it. Okay, I was gonna say, that's interesting. Yeah,
well,
but again, it just goes to show you.
This was the thing though too. Like the reason why I've got this one so quick is that they compared it to Josh Allen, his performance today. Right there, that's versus Miami.
Man, look at that.
Look how different that is.
It's just widespread. You're putting the threat. You're putting the threat out
everywhere.
There.
Yeah,
guys, like that's the whole thing. Like a defense, when you're starting to play this stupid short 5-10 yard thing, you could play zone and be effective on these guys too.
Easy,
right? Like
easy.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like if you're not throwing something over the top, you're not giving them a threat by any means, and that's you have got to do that. Even look at the stats differences here. 23-39, 352
and the Bills
yards.
lost that game. And the Bills lost that game.
Yeah, and that's crazy. That's on a loss. Like, it's just you're putting Herbert as he's a 45-year-old quarterback, and you're not allowing him throwing the ball downfield. Like that is so frustrating to watch. Like, if you go back to Herbert's chart, I think it's the highest throw was like 15-20 yards, possibly.
Yeah,
that was completed. I mean, there was one.
Yeah, he had one right here.
Plus 25. There's a 25-yard one.
Yeah,
that did not convert.
Both. There's 3 of those right there at the 25, and none of them converted.
None of them converted.
Yeah, he only had one completion past 15 yards.
And even looking at that, he only made one on the left.
Yeah,
basically, pretty much one on the left.
It was always the right side.
Just everything on the right side. So guys, okay, so let's put our heads together, guys. We're a defensive coordinator. If I saw this, what would I tell my safeties? Play more on the right side because he's clearly throwing on the right side.
Yep.
Predominantly.
Yep.
So you don't respect the left side. So whatever you see on the left side, you're like, okay, well, just ignore it for the most part.
Yep.
Guys, and that's called shrinking the field.
Yep.
Right? Go back to Allen's chart if you don't mind, Kyle.
Yeah. That keeps
because I'm clear. That's it.
Yeah.
You see that?
It's so spread out.
It's spread out.
That's
spread out.
That's a shotgun offense right there for sure.
That's my point, right? That's my point. You have to understand that if you're not spreading the ball around correctly, guess what? You're going to go nowhere. You're just not in the NFL because what? Things are predictable. The stupid running plays that we kept running all last season were the same stupid running plays over and over again. And I'm like, oh my God, guys, like, what are we doing here? It's the same stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, and the thing is, though, too, the idea is if you throw the ball deep, you want to convert that, make it a big play, yards after catch, touchdown kind of situation, whatnot. That's the idea behind it. But there are people that as an idea, throw the ball downfield, hope for them to be able to cause a penalty to be able to get the ball downfield.
Right.
Like, it doesn't mean it has to be a completion every time.
No.
Like, I do feel like a lot of times with the Chargers this year, they were very, very much playing to try to catch the ball versus try to make a penalty happen. But then also at the same side, try not to cause a penalty. So then it becomes on us kind of thing too. Like even going back to some of the blocking schemes, remember Andy, we looked at things where we're like, why does it look like Keenan Allen or Mike Williams is kind of standing there?
They just
when he could have done something as a block. Did they tell him to basically say, hey, let the guy just do his thing? Don't do a block in the back, which I get it and understand. You don't want to do that. That's a penalty. But like you could position a guy and tell the guy, hey, like if you're out of the play reach, obviously don't try to do anything. But if you're in that zone of where the ball is, try to give a guy a hand. Help a brother out, dude. Block a dude. Like, come on.
Exactly. And again, that's called team offense, right? That's called team offense. And at the end of the day, that's team offense, right? Again, I did see some people talking about Lincoln Riley, USC, Ryan Day from Ohio. That makes sense. But again, college is very different than pro,
Very much.
And again, they run a very different defense and very different offense. So I think there's a lot to be said about that, but guys, we're keeping it real, right? We want you guys to understand this is what we think. This is a conversation that needs to be had. I think there's going to be some tough discussions with this team in the offseason. There really are.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, we're $20 million over the cap. We still got to sign Justin Herbert. We're not in the best position. And there's going to be some things to discuss, right? Telesco's got to make some choices. Brandon Staley's got to make some choices. Spanos has clearly have not shown they want to spend a ton of money. They spent a ton of money this last season. How much more is left in the tank for them to spend this season? That's the real question.
Right.
So, look, again, to your point, Aether, you think I'm talking crazy, but that's just the reality, dude. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say at this point, right? That's part of it. You got to understand that there's nothing to be said. These questions need to be answered, and unfortunately, this team needs to get to the next level, and it hasn't happened. But it's really interesting. And then Zach, speed wide receivers. Yeah, we need more speed wide receivers, right? And again, a lot of people aren't talking about Jalen Guyton. He was one of the biggest losses I thought we've had this whole season because he was the one that separated the field.
Yeah.
And again, if he could get just one guy to just split the safeties one way, because every concept in the NFL is usually one high going deep, splitting the safety, and then keeping a high-low combination and a check down. So it's always something of that nature. It's a high, long, middle, and a check down. It's pretty much every pass play.
Yeah.
To some degree, and when you don't have that guy that they don't respect downfield, they don't respect that. And the safeties can just bite on anybody and they can sit on routes. And that's what they were doing. And that's why we struggled quite a bit this season. So, and Guyton was huge. He at least had the ability to stretch the field.
I remember there was somebody chatting about, giving a guy that's a 4.6 receiver to be able to do a jet sweep. And a jet sweep on a 4.6 receiver is a slow receiver trying to get around the edge.
Receiver.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, he probably runs faster than I've ever run in my entire life. But at the same side,
right, exactly. Yeah.
It's a 4.6 receiver in the NFL is just kind of like an average to not I guarantee in this combine that's coming up, you're going to start seeing all these dudes 4.2, almost potentially to get to the 4.1s kind of level, which is ridiculous to think about. But I mean, there are guys that are like 4.22 guys out there. I mean, it's the constant want to be able to beat the last record. And you're going to see tons of dudes coming in the draft this year that are like speedy wide receiver, cornerback, not really running back. Running back's not going to run a 4.2. I mean, that's an anomaly for sure. But yeah, I mean, we're going to see some guys, and I guarantee we're going to draft some speed guys this year. Guarantee.
Yeah, and you're right, Anthony. We may not do with him this year. But the only concern I have is that Herbert could sit out. He could make a big deal about it, saying, "I want my money."
Mm-hmm.
He could be a holdout. And that just gets ugly. I don't think Herbert's that guy, right? I don't think that Herbert's that guy. I think Kyler Murray's that guy. I think he's not that guy, right? But man, you gotta wonder. You gotta wonder.
He'll do a hold in kind of like Derwin James did, if anything. But that wouldn't happen until after next year, because like I said, after next year is his potential. Let's talk about contract situation. So,
and it's going to really depend on what happens with Burrow and Tua because of the 2020 guys that are ahead of him.
Correct.
You got to look at it as with Burrow's contract at the moment where he's at now. He's at 2 AFC championship games back to back now. His contract's going to be higher than Herbert. Tua's contract probably be lower than Herbert's, in my opinion. Now you also got to look at Jalen Hurts too. Mm-hmm. He's also now a guy that is in the AFC championship game.
NFC though.
The NFC championship game.
We don't talk about the NFC.
It's kind of his first time being in the playoffs.
Sheesh.
So
yeah, right.
So I mean, that 2020 draft was insane for quarterbacks. So my opinion, I don't think that there's going to be too much with Herbert this offseason. I think there's going to be some talks, but I mean, we can move money around. I mean, as you can see last year, we moved a lot of money around.
Yeah. So again, guys, I guess this video is really to discuss reality, right? What really is going to be happening this offseason? Because I think there's a lot to be said about it, guys. I just think there's a lot to be said. And again, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they're special types of players, man. Those
Very
guys are
much.
absolutely fast and ridiculous. I like this right here, Leo. Frank Wright, OC, Gerard Johnson at QB coach. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Again, what I don't want to see is Lombardi 2.0, right? Another Joe Lombardi type.
Mhm.
I want someone to come in that is going to think differently about Justin Herbert and really sit down with him and figure something out with him. Again, McDaniels, going back to Tyreek Hill and Waddle, he sat down with Tua. And by the way, Tua is not a great quarterback compared to Justin Herbert. Like,
No.
I don't even think that's even a conversation at this point.
No.
But he sat down and figured out a way to make him look good. And there was a moment where he looks incredible.
Right.
Well, but not really, right? They found a scheme that worked with him. He found the zones, these certain things that worked well. But again, it's frustrating, man. I mean, it's tough. And Aether, good point. He'll get his money, but boy, I'm going to make my prediction. Okay, so what do you think, guys? Bros, we haven't talked about this beforehand. What are we going to spend most of our money on this offseason and in the draft? What do you think? Wait, offense or defense? I'm just going to leave it at that because I think special teams is fine. They'll probably do 1 or 2 pickups. I really hope Ryan Ficken doesn't go anywhere. I just leaving that alone. And in the chat, what do you guys think? Offense or defense? Are we going to spend more money on offense or offense on defense? Wait, more money on offense or defense? Just say that. So what do you guys think?
Off the top of my head, I think actually offense, because we need a wide receiver, and I think, unless we can keep Gerald Everett, we need an elite tight end as well. Like we need someone there that can add blocks, but also got some good hands. Because that would be just another great weapon for Justin Herbert, and to develop that Mahomes and Kelsey kind of relationship. That I would hope. In fact, there's even a great tight end from Oregon, the Beavers or whatever like that might be good because they'll have that Oregon connection. Maybe they can go fishing together in the offseason, like that's what Justin Herbert likes to do. So
I was just going to say LA Original, the big pickup is RB Jamal Williams,
Jamal Williams from BYU, dude. He's a stud.
Yeah. He would be, and one thing about him, because he and also Aaron Jones
Mariota would be sick too.
From Green Bay is going to be a free agent. There's a ton of veteran running backs that would be fitting to absolute T for this team, and Jamal Williams would be massive. I don't foresee him leaving the Lions, in my opinion. He has become a vocal leader for that team.
Yeah.
And
UFC Jag. I'm sorry,
buddy. Pull up a chair, buddy. Pull up a chair.
Pull up a chair, dude.
Hey, you want me?
We love you.
You want us to send you a link? I can send you a link right now, man.
Oh, dude, I tell you, man. I watched quite a bit of that game. That was tough to watch. I'm sorry, man. I am sorry, dude. I am sorry. It's never fun. Never fun,
man. But I was gonna say, Kyle basically made a great point. It is probably going to be the offense. And the reason why, we still have to figure out what we're going to do at right tackle. I would assume Trey Pipkins would probably get re-signed, in my opinion.
Yep.
Unless they're really thinking about somebody as a draft guy and a right tackle. I do think we're picking at 21, I believe, in this draft.
Yeah.
It's going to be best player available, in my opinion. Somebody brought up Bijan. Johnson? Is Johnson? What? I don't know why it's Johnson. The guy from Texas, the running back there.
Yep.
Absolutely would be a stud to have, but we do already have an elite back, but he's not truly like a pure running back.
A running back, yeah.
100%, yep.
The thing about it is you kind of look at it like a Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard kind of situation if we had, Eckler and Bijan in the backfield, because that really gives you kind of two different type of dimensions to that backfield, which could hopefully open things up in the run game quite a bit for us. So I think the big investment will be in our offense, because last year was on defense. Now, we do still have Tranquil to sign. Personally, I think we should get Kyle Van Noy if he wants to come back too.
Yeah.
There are guys on that defense that need to find a way. I don't think Nas is going to sign with us. I think we're going to let him walk. I think because of JT Woods. I think JT Woods will take his position next year, and then we'll just draft somebody guys later on.
Right.
Bryce Callahan was another guy that basically left too, or is out of his contract. I don't imagine him signing him again because I do think Jasir Taylor is going to take his position.
Okay.
Adding more speed into that slot position for us. So, but I really think it's going to be heavy on the offense, in my opinion. It makes a lot of sense for us.
Well, because I was also going to say too, because we're probably going to let Matt Filer go as well on that left guard position.
Yeah.
And then like I said, I really feel like Lindsley might be in danger as well because he's goes down a lot. So and that's kind of, we need to keep that consistency in the center position. So we might have to find another solid center, and
we'll definitely need to find a backup at the minimum. And that's something I think we could look at the draft. I mean, think about Corey Lindsey is one of the best centers in the league.
Yes.
I mean, he's an all-pro
ridiculous.
Guy, one of the best. And you cannot not have a very good center on your team by any means. So moving Zion to center, Corey is washed. Wowzers.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I could see that happening. Think about it this way. So actually, I'm going to go counter to you guys. I'm actually thinking we're going to go after some more defensive players this offseason, right? I do think that clear. If you look at the teams that are still playing football right now, they have very good defenses. And again, our friend UFC Jag is here, and or UCF Jag. Sorry, I keep saying UFC Jag. I keep saying that. I don't know. So I apologize. Dalton, we know Dalton very well. But guys, like, look, the reality is this: you got to have a good defense. You got to stop the other team. And we were horrible the second half all season, right? And again, I like what Zach says here. I like a true tight end one. We do need that. I don't think we have a true tight end one. I think our first pick might be a tight end one. And then I think we go heavy defense after that again. And we might pick up some more defensive linemen, free agencies. Well, of course, we get Austin Johnson back. We get some other players back that we have. But, man, I just feel like I think they re-signed Fehoko. I think they re-signed Austin Johnson. I think they re-signed Morgan Fox. I think they maybe get one more defensive lineman in free agency. And then we start going maybe another safety, maybe another cornerback, maybe another linebacker. Yeah. And then we find a speedy wide receiver, someone to just burn the field. Because, like, here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say right now. There are wide receivers that are in the NFL that are just like decoys. They're just a decoy.
Yeah.
You're not really expecting. Who was that one guy we had? What was his name? Phil Rivers had him, and we kept cutting his butt. He was super fast, but he kept dropping the ball. What was his name?
Dexter McCluster is one guy that we had on our team kind of late in his career, and that was a fast guy. But it was also I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, because he was on
Travis
our
Benjamin.
Oh, Benjamin. Yeah, Benjamin. Benjamin. Fast as hell. The reason why you have him, he's fast. Great.
Yeah.
Run down the field. I want you to just run down the field. I don't care. Just do a streak. And my point is you can have a guy like that. Yep. And all he is a decoy just to keep the safety honest, keep the safety moved over to that side. So then the real play goes the other direction.
Yep. Yeah.
That's my point. Right. And again, you can throw to him occasionally or whatever, but dude, you could get value like that way deep in the draft. You really can. Just a fast dude. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I just think it's something to really think about because we have to have one or two of those guys that can just stretch the field. Yeah. Bandy, as much as we like Bandy wasn't that guy. He didn't have that speed.
No, definitely not.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Optimus Rhyme. See, Optimus Rhyme knows me, dude. Travis Benjamin. Yep. You know my brain better than me, my dude. I love it.
That's right.
I love it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I remember many times deep passes thrown right on his hands, dropping them. Oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But again, what was his job? His job was just to streak down the field and just make the defense have to go, whoa, okay, and then the safeties aren't there for a running play or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. And potentially draw a pass interference call on it.
Exactly correct.
Yeah.
100%, right? And anyways, I think losing Guyton was a huge issue. So I mean, I don't know. It's one of those situations.
Yep. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this all pans out in the draft. I mean, it's, even to say if Guyton could even come back, I think he would be a phenomenal guy to be back. Now, once again, we've got to know what his knees like, see if he has the speed or whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, you could find gems in the draft. And I truly believe that Justin Herbert's a guy that could make wide receivers look better than they really are too.
Yeah,
for sure.
So
For sure.
We'll see.
Again, we talked about this at the very beginning, LA Original. I think that there is a real, like, in my opinion, I think he should be traded.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot to be said about that. There's a lot of money that we're paying him. He played 4 games this season. 4 games.
Yeah.
Look at Williams. Look at Allen.
Yeah.
Guys, unfortunately, look, they're tough decisions that have to be made. So you gotta wonder, I don't know, did you guys hear his last interview that he had in the locker room? Bosa?
Yeah. He just got fined like $55K for all those remarks.
$55K. But I remember he kept saying, he's like, yeah, I want to be, I'm excited to come back here next year and be with these guys. I don't know who's all going to be here. Yeah. And I remember thinking to myself, he might not be here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's true. Right.
Yeah.
Like, he's been in charge of his whole career, but dude, guys, it's a lot of money. And arguably you could say he lost us the game versus the Jags. You could argue that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of money that we could pay for other players. We could maybe get a second, maybe a 3rd round pick. And then who knows? We can pick a 2nd round edge rusher, and then we can pick another wide receiver at the 3rd round for him and free up all that cap space. Yep. Guys, these are the business decisions that need to be made. Right. And that's my point.
Yeah.
And again, I know it sucks to say this because we have his jersey and we're fans of him. I get it. 100% get it.
Yeah.
But these are real discussions that it's a business, guys. It's a business.
Yeah.
Yep. Aether's about to unsubscribe. So Aether. And the thing about it is like the NFL stands for not for long. And I mean, sometimes it's not for long, contracts that actually go all the way to the end and maybe it'll get traded off. And, I don't know necessarily what's going to happen, but Aether, the thing is though, too, if Joey does get traded off and going 7-10, I mean, we basically had Joey for pretty much dang near most of the year, and we went 10-7 or whatever it was, 10-8.
No, we didn't have him for the year.
We did not have him.
Yeah, we did not have him pretty much at all.
He played all of 5-6 games at most.
4 games total. 4 games total.
Yeah,
and arguably 2 games were just horrible because he didn't do anything. In fact, if anything, he shot our team in the foot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and Morgan Fox
couldn't check his emotions, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and Morgan Fox was one of our biggest signings too. That actually had one of the highest. I think he was 2nd in quarterback pressures.
Yep.
For this year. So, I mean, there's guys out there that could do an effective job. Now, Joey Bosa is an absolute stud when healthy. Yeah. Absolute stud.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, there's decisions that are made in the NFL, and it would suck to be able to think like, hey, we have to dump a guy off and get a couple picks out of him, but it's really almost like a salary cap situation more than anything. And so, your best players, available players, and if you're not available, then you become dead money on the sideline. So
wait, but he just Dennis just actually said that right there.
I got to do this right here.
Oh, okay.
There we go. We got to get the laugh track out there. No, but there is something to be said about it. But again, all I'm saying, guys, on this, what I'm saying right now is that there are going to be some tough decisions made this offseason. And as fans, we have to be ready for it, right? Yeah. Some of our players that we like could get traded, guys. And it is what it is, right? That's just part of it. And I hate to say it. But you could also sit them down and say, hey, bro, you need to take a pay cut. And just like H4 said, or hey, take a pay cut. Hey, bro, look, we need to pay Herbert, and you've been paid a lot of money. You played 4 games last season.
Yep.
And sorry, big dog. Yep. You want to still be with the team? You got to take a pay cut.
Yep.
Right.
In Telesco as a GM though, he's never really done a kind of renegotiation of contracts other than through trades. And so from what I know, and I'm just thinking in my head, I don't think he's ever done that as a GM. This might be that offseason that he has got to do that. And so there might be a lot of shifting of a lot of money around right now. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the offseason that we end up signing Herbert or whatnot. I mean, technically, if you do it now, you probably get a little bit of a discount if we ascend to AFC Championship, Super Bowls, or whatever it might be. Now, AFC is not an easy conference to play in by any means. There's top tier quarterbacks in this conference, but this is going to be an interesting offseason for the Chargers on specifically with Telesco. Is he going to have the backbone to be able to talk to some of these guys and say, hey, man, you're going to have to change up your money, your contract a little bit. We're going to shift this, that, and everything around.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. And I think that's a big part of it, right? And again, you can play with the numbers as long as you want. What is what's that dude's name always talk about? The salary cap's a myth. What's his name? Why do I keep forgetting his name? The guy on YouTube.
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee, yes.
McAfee,
he always says the salary cap's a myth, right? You're right.
Yep.
You can play with the numbers all you want, right? Doesn't matter. You can negotiate certain things. There's all different things that have happened in the NFL. And so, look, I guess my point is this, right? There's a lot to be discussing about this team, and there's a lot that's going to happen, right? We're getting a new offensive coordinator, a new quarterback coach, or passing coordinator, whatever you want to call that person, right? And at the end of the day, man, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Like, real decisions have to be made, right? And I go back to like a lot of these players that stayed with the Chargers forever, like LaDainian Tomlinson until we wouldn't pay him anything his last season,
right?
Went to the Jets. He was willing to take pay cuts, and you got to wonder. Now, the part of the problem though is this. Here's the problem: you got agents now, that are in the mix, and that you're hitting their wallet, and they get pissed, and they're sharks, and they got to get paid. And that's the very business discussion going on here, guys. And again, this is really where I'm thinking in the mind of Tom Telesco. He's got some big decisions to make at this point, right?
Right.
Does he have the chutzpah to do it? I don't know. Yeah. Chutzpah. Is that a real word?
Chutzpah?
I don't know. Sounds Jewish. Sounds Jewish.
Does he have the gonads to do it? Does he have the gonads, right?
Oy vey.
Oy vey. No. And that's a really good point. And again, that's exactly the point, Dennis, right? So the whole point is, the cap is just a number. You're exactly correct. And I think that's part of the problem. You can pull money from the next year, you can bring it down, you can do all this other stuff. You're shifting money around. And so that's why, it's a fluid number, but okay, guys. So I guess the whole point is we're talking about one guy, Justin Herbert. He's got to get paid. Does he get paid this year or does he get paid next year? Yeah. And I think there's a lot to be said. About what really makes sense financially for this organization, right? Because these conversations have to happen. And I promise you, Brandon Staley and Justin Herbert are having these conversations with Tom Telesco and Brandon Staley. They are having conversations. These are happening right now.
Yep, 100%.
So where's this going to go, right? Because this is the future of the franchise, and I want him here, but I also want a quarterback coach that's going to do a good job with him and make him better, right? Because I think he's elevated as far as he's going to go with Lombardi. But who's the next guy? Who's the next guy that's going to step in?
Right.
Man, I don't know. And Leo, thank you. I appreciate it. Because I know this is a hard conversation, guys. This is a hard conversation. Yep. This is not an easy conversation as a fan base. We just want to win. We just want to win.
Yeah.
But winning also means bringing the right people in, bringing the right coaching staff in, and then bringing in the right players to make the coaching staff look good and making the coaching staff make the players look good, right? So it's not a simple conversation. Right. So it's interesting. So, and James, what are your thoughts here? And I know, Kyle, what are your thoughts?
It's a business, guys. And that's a tough side of business is that we always want our guys to be on our team. And we always want to be able to have Joey Bosa, one of the original San Diego Chargers, still on the team.
Original.
Keenan Allen, same thing. Anything could really happen with these guys. Every year is a different team, and we have to always remember that there is a business involved in this, guys. And that's the hard part of this whole thing. I'm sure when, Brandon Staley got rid of Lombardi and Shane Day, that wasn't an easy conversation by any means, I'm sure. And so it's just a business, guys, and it sucks because we do also have to work on the cap. We got to make sure we could get a little bit of cash so we could sign our draft picks. We got to get a little bit of cash to be able to sign our guys that are free agents. We got to find ways to be able to make things happen, but it is a business, guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this offseason is. To be honest, I think it's going to be an interesting one. So
yeah. Yep. I agree. And it will be. So, maybe James or Kai, you want to go with this Aether's bold prediction?
Sure. But yeah, I was just gonna say is that the business is a business does though, So
Little Forrest Gump reference there.
That's right. That's right.
I was running.
That's right.
Jenny.
Yeah, Jenny. That's right.
This is business.
That's right.
I'll remember that forever. Okay.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? Hey, that's a good shirt right there.
That's a good idea, dude.
He was giving him the business, That's
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
hilarious. Okay, got it. Okay, here we go.
All right, so Aether's bold prediction here is the Chargers defense and offense will be top 5 next year, if they're healthy. I believe he's trying to say that, so 14-3 AFC West champs, number 1 seed in the AFC West, Herbert MVP, Staley coach of the year, Telesco GM of the year. Man, that is probably the boldest prediction, way too early prediction ever.
But it does make sense. Like,
sure.
I think what Aether is probably saying too is if we stay healthy, right?
Yeah. Right.
That's the key. That's the key. Yeah. That's a bold prediction in itself. Stay healthy.
The word healthy.
That is the one prediction.
That's the bold prediction is just stay healthy. That's the bold prediction.
That's my point, right? And again, that's exactly what I picked for us this team this season, but we didn't stay healthy. We led the league in injuries, which was super awesome and super annoying, and a big kick right in the pills. Do you want to say anything there about that too as well, James?
Yeah, I was just going to say, next year's schedule is going to be an interesting one for us. The thing about it is that there's a lot of playoff teams, 2022 playoff teams that were playing in 2023. So it's going to be that same conversation of, can we beat the good teams when necessary?
Yeah.
If the 2022 Chargers show up, I mean, we did beat 2 good teams, the Dolphins and the Titans. Now, ending outcome of their seasons is completely different, but we did beat only 2 really good teams when they had winning records. And so if the 2022 Chargers show up against the 2023, and if it's the same outcome of 2022 with those teams, it could be a very rocky year, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
So who knows? Now, every season's totally different. People lose players, lose coaches, lose all these different things that could happen. But hey, 2023 is going to be a totally different team for us, and it'll be the same for them. So we'll see.
I just don't remember his. I remember his concussions, but I don't remember his nutsack getting ripped. I don't remember that.
Maybe it's the groin injury. That's what
groin injury.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah, but it wasn't his nutsack though. It was his groin. It's a different muscle completely. I was like, what is a nutsack? When did that happen? Anyways, could have happened. Anyways, this is a good thought here, real quick, and maybe we wrap up here. I know we're about an hour and a half here at this point. We talked a little bit about this during the season, right? I don't know that he lost his confidence, but I think that getting his ribs smashed in the way it did rattled him for sure. Yeah. He wasn't the same quarterback this season that he was the season before and the season before that. And I really do believe that. I think these sidearm throws that he kept doing, it's like, what are you doing? He led the league in batted passes.
Yeah.
I can think of 3 during the Jags game that were pivotal. I remember that one in the end zone where he threw the ball, hit literally the dude right in the head, the defender right in the head, and it was an easy walk-in touchdown to Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh, dude, guys, like just so frustrating. And so whoever the offensive coordinator is and the quarterback coach needs to come in and say, hey, look, dude, you got to play your game, and this is the best way for you to be successful.
Yep.
And these like little sidearm throws, all this and that, you got to clean that up. You can't do it. You cannot do it. Yep. You cannot do it.
Well,
and so I'd hurt him a lot this season, I thought.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, the one thing is that we need an offensive coordinator that could let him know that he's got that dog in him.
Let him off the leash.
And I mean, we know who Herbert is. We just need to let him be who he is and let him free flow to be that guy that can make plays on the whim and with his legs and just do little things like find that Mahomes magic. By the way, if there's any Chiefs fans on here or anything, I mean, it's unbelievable what Patrick Mahomes has done in the last 5 years. He's been to the AFC Championships now 5 years in a row.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
I mean, the guy and Andy Reid, I mean, that guy, if we don't beat the Chiefs 2 times in a season, we won't win the division, guaranteed.
Yeah.
We have got to beat them twice every single year to have a chance at the division. That's absolutely what has to happen. So,
yeah.
But
peanut butter and jelly, dude. Peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly, baby.
Peanut butter jelly time. Anyway,
yeah, man.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
But either way, we just need a guy that could really make Herbert be who he is. And now, once again, was it his ribs? Possibly, could be completely that. We don't really know, but it is something. Confidence-wise, he needs to basically get his confidence back in some way or another.
I love Zach says one of the social media team members gets interim head coach. I'm over YouTube social media. I'm going to be the head coach.
Actually, it's funny that actually Bolt God is actually part of the Chargers social media team. So let's get him down there on the field.
So
yeah,
funny.
That would be something.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Him with his hat and everything down there.
That would be phenomenal.
That'd be great. I would love to see a coach looking like that down there, man. That'd be amazing.
Best OC. Well, okay, maybe we should end with this. Who we think our best OC candidates are at this point?
I'll start. I think Jared Johnson from Vikings. I mean, basically,
really?
Why? And once again, going back to that point, if you watch some of his highlights of when he was a quarterback back in Texas, he reminded me a lot of things that could really, really help out Justin Herbert, using his legs, dumping the ball downfield, just looks really solid. And he was a dark horse candidate to be able to win the Heisman too, as a quarterback. Now, he ended up getting an injury that threw off basically I think it was a shoulder injury of some sort, and he never really had the velocity back in his throwing arm. But I think something with that guy, if he could correlate how he played in college to Justin Herbert, and it looks very similar to each other, I think Jared Johnson would be a phenomenal hire for this team. Now, my leeriness of it is he's a young guy. And so, you'd hope he's the next Sean McVay or, Zach Taylor. Once again, shout out to the Cincinnati Bengals for sticking with Zach Taylor, by the way. Jeez. So that's kind of where I'm at.
When you're calling 1 yard bombs every game.
What is it? 1 yard milk. What was it? Remember back in the days? 1 yard milk jugs or whatever it was.
I don't know why that was somebody. Well, yeah. I don't know why that was so funny to me. But here's the thing. They're not but those are called checkdowns, right? So, but again, that wasn't the play. That was like the outlet. Oh, I'm in trouble. Throw the ball away, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's partially where. Again, I truly, as far as the offensive coordinator is concerned, I honestly don't even know. I'm looking at this list from Daniel Popper. I'm not seeing a single person on that list that I really want to see. Maybe Zach Robinson, but I don't know. Maybe Thomas Brown. I don't know. Frank Wright, maybe, but not really. I mean, people keep talking about Eric Bieniemy, and I'm like, he seems like a turd to me.
Would he leave?
Yeah.
But I think you're right, though. You brought up a really good point, James, and I hadn't really thought of that until you jumped on, is that why would an offensive coordinator want to come here if they think Brandon Staley's going to get fired next year? Because it would just make them look bad, right? And so I would argue this is probably the best offensive coordinator position in the league right now. Even if you took, let's say hypothetically, Brandon Staley gets fired next year. Let's say he comes on, brings this offense to a top 5 offense, just a top 5 offense where we were before. That's a huge improvement. And then, you know what? They might get a head coaching role somewhere else. Right? Yep. And, so I don't know, man, it's just crazy to me to think about.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I'm a little bit shocked. We should probably do some more videos on that, guys. Should we do a deeper, wider video on offensive coordinator positions? I know we were thinking about doing it. So something we should do. And Kyle, we didn't even ask your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with, I feel like we should just find someone like maybe from college itself. I think that Riley from USC would be a good transition because like it would be good for him just to jump into the NFL space, even if in fact, say Staley does get fired next year or whatever, because if maybe we do bad or something like that, then that could actually set the stage for Sean Payton to show up. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that that's going to happen or whatever, but like, just getting someone in there just to kind of just get their start could be the transitional piece, so that could 100% be setting the stage for Sean Payton to enter into the chat. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, he wants to get paid crazy money though, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't even think that any team is going to pay him what he wants to get paid. I mean, someone's even saying to me like $20 million a year. I'm like, you're freaking nuts, man.
Well, see, that's just it though too. It's
like,
like maybe
no, dude, like
in a lot of ways, I think he's just saying that because he does want to play for the Chargers. He does want to coach for the Chargers, and he's making his price tag too high. I can't even talk. Too high, so that way he is going to still be available when the time comes to the Chargers. I mean, number one right now, like the Chargers, we're not going to give up a draft, pick, whatever, to get him from the Saints and all that stuff too. So we're just going to wait until that kind of situation ends with the Saints, and if he's still available, which I think he probably will be, that's when they'll have that conversation with him.
Yeah. I'm pretty on the fence on all of these offensive coordinator choices, man. I mean, I kind of feel like who's the flower on the turd pile, because that's kind of what it feels like to me. And I'm like, I don't look at anybody there and go, wow, I'm excited about any of them.
Right.
I mean, there's not even a single person there on that list that I like. So I don't know. I just look at it like, I hope they find the right person. I hope they find the right guy. But again, I think bottom line, this is a really good point. Like Sirianni, I would love to get Shane Steichen back from the Eagles.
Yeah.
But why would Shane Steichen come back to the Chargers? He won't come back. I mean, what's the point, right? Well, okay. We're NFC champions now. Why would I go to Of course, I guess he could make the argument if it's a lateral move, he gets paid more money and he brings that offense up somewhere else, brings it up to a top 5 offense. Again, he could be the next head coach somewhere else. Yeah. But again, it's there's a lot to be said about that, right? And look, I think part of it also is this, right? There was who was saying it? I can't remember which game. I haven't really been watching a lot of football, quite frankly. The game's on the other room there, and I'm not really watching it, but he started talking about how the teams that are in the playoffs probably spend a lot of time together out of practice and are, working together as a group and as a unit. Like they enjoy being around each other and they want to win for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is what needs to happen with the coaching staff. The coaching staff needs to get these players to care about each other. And that only happens usually with players that have been around each other for a while and want to be around. Again, we talk about what happened midway through the season where, Khalil Mack took people out to dinner and everyone started having conversations and yada, yada. But, this is one of those situations where you have to sit back and say, okay, I think we have the right head coach. We just need the right position coaches to get us there and really the right players to get us there as well, too. I mean, think about how our defense improved, at the latter end of the season with, arguably scrubs. Fehoko was a practice squad guy that we even released in the preseason.
Yep.
Signed him back.
Found a way back.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't a guy that was on the team to begin with, really. And, we brought him back and he's kicked butt. And so there's just a lot to be said about that, right? So I guess my point, is I think a lot of changes are going to be made. And I think as fans, we have to remember that what we want, we don't always get, right? We would like to sit back and say, we want our guys to be there. But unfortunately, business decisions have to be made too. So,
hey, I'm just going to throw out something out there that maybe some people thought about, but maybe I'm just rattling cages a little bit here. But what about Chase Daniels for offensive coordinator or quarterback coach? Like
I can see him be the QB coach
passing game coordinator, quarterback coach position. Like, why not? Like, breed your own coaches between your players that you have on your team, and why not? Why not? Maybe he's over it. Maybe he doesn't want to play. Maybe throw him back out there. I mean, we've always looked at him as a coach. Why not?
He basically was a quarterback coach for Herbert the whole time too.
Yeah. He really was.
So
I think there's a lot to be said about that. There's a lot to be said. I mean, because I don't think they'll re-sign him. I don't think any team will re-sign him at this point.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you never really know. I mean, I guess anything could happen, I suppose. But yeah, I could see him, coming in as a quarterback coach and saying, "Hey, I know Herbert. I know what works best for him, and and whoever they fire, bring on as an offensive coordinator, then they could say, all right, well, Chase Daniels is your QB coach, and make him an on the field guy." That would probably mean we would draft a quarterback this draft. Most likely, because if we don't re-sign him, guess what? We got to pick up a quarterback at some point because we only have one, and it's Easton Stick, and clearly nobody wants Easton Stick to be our guy. Yeah. So, I mean, we haven't suited him up for, I don't even think, any games this season. He's just been sitting on the sideline. So that would mean one of our draft picks is going to be a quarterback. So I think that's an interesting discussion at a later date as well too. So pretty interesting. Let's see. Well, see, and Optimus Prime, I'm going to almost argue, we played the Miami and we played Texans or Tennessee, and they were good teams, right? But they were good teams on the decline for sure. Now we know that, but they still were there. And then the Jags, I mean, again, we didn't even talk about the second half we choked hard. I mean, they walked in there, thought, hey, we got this in the bag, game is over. And clearly it wasn't, right? So, but it's interesting. It'd be really interesting to see what's going on here. So, yeah. And again, a lot of people talk about Justin Herbert being an introverted quarterback. I think he's come out of his shell quite a bit. And again, he's one of those quiet leaders, right? I mean, would you rather have a Justin Herbert who keeps his emotions calm and collected, or would you rather have a Phil Rivers who's always kind of off the handle and gets way too intense? I would argue the introverts are probably a better situation than that. But, and then Joe Reed just never quite did anything with our team, but he hasn't done anything with anybody so far too. So it's been interesting. So
he signed with the futures contract with the Bears.
The Bears, yeah, that makes sense. Bears are a bad team. They need anybody and everybody. I mean, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad.
They got like $100 million to spend.
They got a lot of money to spend.
Think about this, guys. Why don't we trade Bosa off to the Bears, right? Yeah. We traded Mac. Why don't we trade Bosa off to the Bears? They can afford him. Yeah. They got all kinds of money, guys. And and this is what we're talking about, guys, right?
Just take over that contract. Yeah.
Why not, right? If they think they have a guy that could do it, then take it over, right? There are teams that have money that can pay for Bosa. And I get it, right? You could sit back all day. It is, again, guys, it's a hard discussion. It's a big part of the discussion. We're not going to have this discussion moving forward, guys, but I think we really wanted to have a real open discussion about this offseason and kind of where we think it was going to go. Cause it's a lot to take in, because a lot's going to happen for sure, guys. A lot's going to happen. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, and guys, we'll also see how much money the Spanos family is willing to spend, because they're already over capped now. Mm-hmm. How much deeper in the hole are they willing to go? So, yeah.
Yep, exactly. I was thinking LA original. Exactly. Joe Burrow never seemed to lose his cool. So why is it a bad thing for Herbert? Exactly. Like, keep a nice level-headed quarterback, man. It ain't 100%. A bad thing at all, man. And hey, Burrow's a stud. I mean, he's going to be a guy that we're going to have to see in the playoffs. Yeah. Probably every single year. Him, Mahomes, Allen. I mean, Lawrence, throw him out there now too. Like, AFC is stacked, boys. Like, if you don't have a quarterback, there's probably very little chance you're going to get anywhere in the playoffs. But it's going to be a lot of really good matchups for the next 10 years plus between all these guys. Yeah. Plus Mahomes.
Yeah. I'm going to leave my final thoughts here, and then we'll pass to you guys and we'll wrap up. Look, I think we're close, right? And as much as we're complaining here, I think as a team, we're close. And it frustrates me because I think we're close every year. I think we have the right players. I think we have the right talent. And arguably, I think we have the right coaching staff. I do believe in Brandon Staley. I think he's brought a good culture to the team. But like I've said, there are position coaches that did not do their job. And that was one, Joe Lombardi, for sure. Yep. I think Shane Day, you could have argued that he probably did okay, but not great. But you have to also ask yourself this question, is Brandon Staley the guy that can get us to the next level? I think he could. But he needs a team around him, and the team around him has not competed and played consistently, right?
Yeah.
His line has been porous at times. His wide receivers have been porous at times. He's had injuries defensively, offensively, right? These things, like, I'm tired of having these injuries, but these things are affecting the ability for our quarterback to do a good job. And that sucks. So that's just kind of my final thoughts. What are your thoughts, guys?
Kyle, you want to go?
I mean, I feel like we've had coach woes for the past, 3 coaches in a lot of ways. It's like, I mean, Norv Turner, freaking McCoy, and then Anthony Lynn. We have had coach woes, but we've really had a bigger problem. If anything, was a Spanos problem. And I think, a lot of people, we actually talked about this a little bit with some people talking about the Spanos curse. This past weekend, I was talking to some folks. We don't really know that the Spanos Coast actually exists, besides just them just being cheap and making business moves. And so that's the biggest thing. But with that said, we've actually seen him open up their purse a lot more lately, and more than we've actually ever seen in our entire lives. And so
I think that's why we expected this year to be so much better.
Right. And that's but I mean, we can't, I guess, expect to flip the switch in 1 year. I feel like that's the biggest thing. So I think, like Andrew's right, is that we're close. But we gotta make some adjustments, and I think some of those adjustments are gonna be some, like we said, we've been talking about some really tough adult choices here, because some of these San Diego Originals are gonna have to probably, we're gonna have to cut them loose, maybe get some trades or whatever. But I'm not even sure that that's gonna happen, because Tom Telesco doesn't like to do that. He doesn't like to let our guys go. Like obviously, like you were saying with Fehoko, and like in many other players that we actually cut just to re-sign them. And so it's like, I feel like we have the team that we need, but there's a few missing pieces, and we'll be able to get there again to the playoffs for sure next year. But how that team's going to look, I'm not 100% sure. But I'm definitely expecting the Chargers to make some waves in this offseason.
Yeah. Yep. I think for me, it's just the little tweaks in the coaching staff that need to happen. And we need to make sure we find that right guy to make Justin Herbert be Justin Herbert. But not just Herbert being Justin Herbert, but try to find a little bit more supporting of a run game behind him too. Balance out the game a bit. We don't need Justin Herbert throwing 40+ passes in a game. We just need him to be able to have 25, 30 effective throws in a game and be fine with that, and then balance out the game with a running game. I mean, a 50-50 game would not be bad at all, where 50% pass, 50% run, just to really balance this game out. Because how many times have we run the ball right up the gut, got 1 yard, 0 yards, maybe 2 yards, if that, on first down? We just really weren't getting explosive run plays by any means. So it really relied on Justin Herbert. We just need a guy, an offensive coordinator, that could really balance this game out for us. And I think defensively we'll be fine. We'll be 100% fine. Austin Johnson will be back. Otito Ogbonnia will be back. Looks like J.C. Jackson's working on his knee quite a bit. Well, I've seen a lot of videos on his Instagram for that. I think we'll be fine as a defense. At this point, guys, it's just about adding more depth to this team, more guys to be able to make sure if one guy goes down, because it's 100% going to happen for us, that these guys are going to get injured. But we're in a good position with a lot of draft picks. We have the ability to add a lot more talent to this team next year. Big thing is just making sure we get these coaches the right coaches hired for Justin Herbert to flourish as a quarterback. So that's just my thoughts, my last thoughts, boys. So we good.
No, and again, Herbert played hurt, man. Herbert played hurt all season. We know that rib injuries suck, and they get re-injured too, right? I mean, there was an article that I read where he threw the ball and he said he could feel his ribs moving around in his body. That's a weird feeling, guys.
Yeah.
It sucks when you're laughing and it hurts, and it's not a fun thing, right? So it definitely rattled him this season. But again, I want to see a balanced offensive attack. I want to see a better defense, and I want to see a team that's cohesive. I want to see a team that doesn't get hurt all the time. And for whatever reason, guys, we just got so blasted on injuries this season. It was just, it almost became laughable to me at some point, almost laughable. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is horrible, but this is what we're dealing with. And this is where we're at right now. So, wow, this sucks. So, look, guys, at the end of the day, this is the team that we're cheering for, and we're always going to be fans, but it's difficult conversations. And I will say this, I do want to do an in-year video on my own. I know James and Kyle probably want to do one as well too. And we'll probably start talking about OCs. There's not a whole lot of information coming out until the season ends anyway. So we'll probably, spread some of these videos out, because all three of us have different views on this season. We want to recap the team as a whole, but I would rather recap it individually so each of you can hear our individual viewpoints and agree or disagree with us, guys. The whole point of this is we want to have a conversation with you folks, right? Let us know what you think. You guys are crazy. You're stupid. I don't like what you're saying. Fine. Disagree with me. It's totally fine with me.
Yeah.
Totally fine with me, right? It's my opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I had a very long conversation with some gentleman on our last video. He talked about it for a while, and he's like, oh, fans are this, fans are that. But look, at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, their own feelings, their own views on everything. So it's a big part of it. But anyways, so
guys.
And by the way, thanks H4. I really appreciate it. This is our first year, guys. I don't know if you guys know this or not. This is our first year doing this channel.
Yeah.
Very first year. So if you have Charger fans, get them to subscribe. I really appreciate it. We're trying to get to 1,000. We're so close at this point. And again, we want to do that because then we can get into some other merch, type of sites. We got a lot of things planned for next season. We're talking to Rivers Lake Yacht Club and a bunch of different things. So there's a lot of things happening, a lot of things in the motion that could be pretty interesting for us.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Sounds good.
And I'll let you guys actually know there actually is a Super Bowl party. It's called the Swooper Bowl party going down. Yeah. So Swoop and D Tailgate, they actually been hosting this every once in a while. So it's going to be happening there in February. Obviously, it's for the Super Bowl down in San Diego. I believe they go to a park or whatever, and they have a good barbecue. It's all good times. Basically, all the OG fans from San Diego get together and just support the Chargers. They're not playing, so they have their own party. It's a Swooper Bowl party.
Super Bowl party. I like that.
Swoop. That's right.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. That's awesome.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good.
Well, great. Well, I guess we'll just wrap it up. Let's get out of here.
Get it going.
Yeah. Bolt Bros. Let's
go.